Hello, my name is Starlight. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and I'm reaching out to all of you beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature somewhere, which today is one of those days. This week here is, I'm not complaining because I'm not in New York, where they have like about 3 inches of snow and it's brrr. But out here right now, it's been, like today, I think about 50, low 60s today. So that is good because it's above 40. So anyway, make sure you're getting out in nature, and also make sure you're taking care of yourself, number one, first. And if you have a husband or a wife, or children or a loved one out there, that is there for you and they love and support you and they're not trying to control you, your life, is please be there for those people. Check up on them. Like if you have your, like depending on how old you are, if your folks are getting older and they need more attention, please, if they were great parents, be there for those parents that were there for you. They did the best that they could do. And not that they were perfect, it's that they really did. They tried their hardest to be a good parent to you. And also, if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome. And you can find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. Plus, you could give this video a thumbs up, and you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel, and don't forget the notification bell. Plus, you don't be afraid, don't be shy. Swing by and say hi to Starlight, and you can leave me a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. Plus, you can also share Starlight with Sharon today, and Sharon is such a great thing. I was able to share some food with a couple of people right at this library this morning, and I walked away laughing my ass off because it was like Christmas to them today. And it's just how God does things. God sent me here this morning to put more food in the refrigerator and other goodies out there that Starlight had to let go of. And there's two people that they're so happy. And it's so funny how this happened is because Starlight had tomatoes, ripe, beautiful tomatoes off the vine. Oh, those are my favorite. And it was a whole bunch of them. And I believe that they were relatives or a couple. But these people were so excited. They took all the tomatoes. There was a lot there. And so they were happy, And then Starlight came out with more. And then they were, it was just like a high that they had for that moment. And every time they thought I was done, Starlight came out with more goodies. So sharing is such a good thing. So you could share my videos with your family or friends. And let's see, a cat or a dog. Plus, don't forget my playlist. And you can find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K, Dingman Starlight. So Starlight had so many things that I wanted to talk about, but I don't really, one topic, right? So do you have high expectations on people? Don't we all have high expectations on what we think they should do and how they should do? And we all can go through this at some point, in our life is, and we really got to let go of those expectations that we have in others. And, and it's kind of funny. I have, expectations that people are supposed to do certain things for me or to act a certain way. And, and then they have expectations of what they think I should do or be. You could have family members that their expectations of you, and you could have expectations of them. But when we don't follow through on, what they think that we should do or, expect us to do, then we get crushed and it hurts. Expectations of, how we think that they're going to respond to different things that we do or say. So we gotta, our expectations, we gotta let that go, because what I'm learning on this journey here is, we change as people. we don't stay the same. We might be, like with me, being on this spiritual journey, self-discovery and becoming my greatest version, is I'm not going to be the same person I am today. Now, some of you could have been watching my videos from day one, and I know there's at least one person out there that is still watching my videos from the beginning all the way to now, that has watched practically every single video that I've made. And so I know that person knows that I am a totally different person than who I was when I started YouTube. I'm not the, right now I'm like, who am I? By the time I figure out who I am now, I'm going to be another version of myself, right around the corner. Like, it could be tomorrow, because that's how things go on this journey, is that we're not, I hope you're not the same person you were when you were a teenager, right? Are you the same person that you were when you were 20 years old? No, right? You're growing, you're learning. We're here to learn lessons in life. Like my mentor, this is like a university, like a school. And yeah, we are definitely here, to learn, from the time that we get out of our mother's womb, is that we're going to learn all the time throughout this journey, and we're going to learn about ourselves more. And that's really where you want to focus, is learn about you. Who are you? Study about your date of birth, your name, like what are those things? Because those are clues to really who you are and what you're about and why you're here. And if you're lost and confused and you don't know why you're here, that is a good start where you can go. And, you're going to have other people out there that are going to say, oh, don't believe in that shit. Oh, that stuff is hocus pocus or whatever. They're going to have all kinds of things. But, what I've learned on this journey here, be careful of who you listen to, because sometimes that's exactly, a lot of times, I can't say sometimes, you got to listen to you. Instead of listening to what, people guide you over that way and over that way, and you're confused, you're lost, you don't know what to do. You know what? If you don't know what to do, go and check it out. Research it, study it, and things don't happen overnight. That is what I learned when I started going to church. I didn't know nothing about church. My family wasn't going to church. My family, they didn't believe in God. My mom does not believe in a God. My dad does not believe in a God. So I had to learn about Jesus. How did I learn about Jesus? I ended up going into church. Guess what? I learned all kinds of shit. I learned stuff that I didn't ever think I'm like, wow, that was a mind blow. So I learned, through going to church from 1995 all the way to 2007, two different churches that I went to. They were both Baptist churches, but two different kinds of churches. I learned all kinds of stuff in there, so the good, the bad, and the ugly, so even though when you go to church, you think that, when you go there, okay, you're going to go to church, you think when you go there that they're going to be honest people, right? You think, oh yeah, that's what I thought. But then when I got there, I realized, it took me like years later on to realize that I was deceived before I even walked in the building, because they were telling me I was going to go to hell. I believed it. I'm like, I don't want to go to hell. I already was living hell. I'm like, there's no way I want to go to hell after, like all that, my life was like hell. This was like hell in my life, but not that planet Earth is hell. It's just the things that I was going through was like, I experienced a lot of horrible stuff. So, don't listen to other people. You got to do this on your own. You got to make the choices, and to let you know, there's people that will guide you and help you. Like I am a teacher, like I'm an influencer, and then there's mentors out there and there's other teachers out there. They can help you and guide you by giving you information, but guess what? You still have to question everything. Because just like what I'm saying, when I went to church, I thought what they were teaching was all the truth. But then I found out I was deceived before I even went into the building. And it was a big fucking eye-opener. I'm not going to hold back. That's exactly what I was going to say. It was, mind blown. That's exactly what that was. So, don't You got to try things out and find out, and does this really work, and not to have high expectations about people is because, you know what? We're all here trying to figure it all out. Even people, that are out there that they could have great YouTube channels, you know what? They're struggling to make it. They got a lot of wisdom and knowledge, but you know what? Nobody can figure out the mind of God or the universe. So, there's a lot of twists and turns, ups and downs, inside, outward, all this stuff. We never can really know what is going to happen like tomorrow. God's already got it all planned out. So, I want you to not to be so stressed out by, like letting other people, when you think, like you think you figured them out and that they're going to do this or that. And then when they don't do those things, is that you're like, are my high expectations of that person, they're going to crush you. They're going to make you feel like shit later on, because we're always constantly changing, and we should grow, so what I was once then, I'm no longer now, and like I said, I'm like, wow, who am I? I mean, like, I just had like, there's people that I talk to or write to, and I'm like, wow, who am I? Because now I'm a higher version of myself, thanks to my mentor, Infinite Waters, Ralph Smart. Because now I see that, wow, what he's putting on his videos is working. And, I know that because I'm doing the work. And I've been working hard on myself through his videos. So this is how you do it. You might think, I hear other people saying stuff, but that's what you got to do, is that you got to find out on your own. And you know what? Everything, is going to happen. We're here to learn lessons, just like when I went to church. Guess what? I don't go to church anymore. I went to school. Now I'm in a whole different kind of school right now, about spirituality and learning to work on myself and love myself and become my greatest version, be the change that I want to see in the world. So that's why it's so important, that we do this all the time without even thinking about it. Like when we go out in public, how we, perceive people and how we think that they ought to be, and, like our high expectations of how people should treat us. You gotta, like I had a dream last night, and there's a toilet, flush it down the toilet, really. The way this world is, everything changes. Nothing stays the same. If you are the same person you were when you're 30 years old and you're 50, I don't know what to tell you. Because it's because you're doing the same thing over and over again, and there's no change. So don't put all these expectations on your family, thinking that they're going to do a certain, and then when they don't follow through because you thought that's what they were going to do and they didn't, and then you get hurt, is expect the unexpected, really. You might think that they're going to be there and love and support you your whole life. That might be expectation that you believe. Tomorrow, they don't even call you up. They're not even, it's not about you anymore. It's about them. It could be that they're all about you being there for them. It don't mean that they're going to be there for you. So flush all that, because the way this is because we've been lied to. This is the matrix. This is a stimulation here. This is like, a video game. And a lot of you are like, Starlight, I don't care what you know what? You're going to believe what you want to believe. We're all at different growing levels, Long time ago, my brother that is no longer here, he's the one that told me this was all an illusion. Did I understand it right away? Absolutely not. Just like your kids, and just like all through our life that, we don't learn things just like that. Learning how to talk, it takes a long time. Learning how to ride a bicycle takes a long time. We don't learn how to ride a bicycle the first day we get on the bike. And same with when somebody says, oh, this is all an illusion, it doesn't mean that that person is crazy because they said something that sounds crazy, because that's how this matrix shit works. Is everything is upside down and twisted inside out, backwards. You know, it's not, we're not in control really of our lives like we think. We are somewhat, but really it's all to how God's going to let this play out. God's got it already, you know, wherever you are today is where you belong. And, you know, so it's not no accident. And like I was just talking to somebody yesterday, is you had to go through everything that you've gone through to be where you are today. And where you are today, you have to, you know, so the battles that we fight every day in our life, the things that we have to learn all the time is getting us further, you know, to understand who we really are and what we're really made out of. So just because you hear something that you don't understand, just like a child when they're learning stuff at school, guess what? At first they didn't understand. There's no way you would believe everything that you believed when you were a kid today. You know, when whatever your parents told you, they could have told you all the kinds of stuff. They were programmed to tell you all this stuff, and you were, you know, programmed to hear it, and, you know, being programmed to believe that's the truth. And then later on, when you get on your own, you might start studying and researching stuff, and then you find out what the blank, you know, is when I went to school, I was being taught this. When I went to church, they taught me this. When my family, they taught me that. So that's why it's so important not to have high expectations for anyone. They could turn on you just like that, you know. They could, you know, you think that they're going to be there and help you. Believe me, when you start working on yourself, when you start, like, you know, like not trying, but when you are out there helping people to change their lives and make a difference in the world, you're going to find out really who your real friends are out there. You know, it's not going to be the ones that you thought were your friends. No, you might have to let those people go. Bye, you know, bye. We don't resonate anymore. Far away from that, you know. So there's going to be times that you're going to have to let those people go, because you're on a different level of growth. You're evolving into a better being, a higher version of yourself. So there's times that we do, you know, you can't hold on to people of a lower frequency and a lower vibration. They're only going to pull you back down. They're not going to cheer you on and tell you to keep going and keep on helping people out in the world. No, they're gonna get jealous of you, and they're gonna get envious of you, and they're not gonna want to see you do this, because they're not to that level. They lack understanding. So don't have all this expectations on your family or friends that you think they're your friends. I have one and only friend. It's kind of funny. I have my one and only daughter. I have my one and only son. You know, my one and only friend. You know, so you don't need a whole lot of friends in this world. You should be your best friend. So stop have high expectations on what you think that they're going to do and help you out. Like, hey, I asked you for help, and you won't even, like, you know, this is funny. People are like this with their phones. It's such a joke. It really is. Like, if I want to get something from you, you know how I would do it? Like, if you're supposed to be my friend, right? I won't text that information. Now, some people will say, hey, you know, can you help me this weekend? I'm going to be moving. You know, I'm going to be moving out of my apartment, and, you know, I want to get a hold of my so-called friend like a week ahead, you know, to give them thumbs up and say, hey, you know, this weekend I'm going to be moving. I could really use an extra hand, you know, to lighten up my load on moving. You know, where Starlight knows better. If I really want to get some help from you know, hopefully they're my friend, right? Then I'm not going to send a text message. They already know. They're like, you know, it gives them time to really think about it. No, I'm going to call them up and leave a message. If they don't answer the phone, I'm going to like, hey, could you give me a call back? And I'm going to have my tone of voice the right way, you know, so they don't pick up any tones, you know, and this is how we are. At least this is how I am. Are you like this? You know? And so I'm like, yeah, this is Starlight. Can you give me a call later on when you get a chance? And then I'll be waiting, you know, like, when are they going to see these expectations? When are they going to call me up? Oh, yeah, they get done with work at what time? And okay, they got to drive home. do they have a family or what, what's going on after they, but maybe they got something going on. Maybe they're going to, maybe all this stuff. You go like really cuckoo trying to figure out when should they call you up, like, oh, you know what? And then they don't call you up. They, and they might, and depending on who you are, if you're that type of person that's always calling them up asking for stuff, you could be waiting a real long time, right? Like, are they ever going to call me up? I mean, like, I left a message, a voice message. I knew better not to leave a text message, I wanted to do the sneak approach, to try to get some help, I would even pay them to help me out. This is how desperate I am for, some help here. I'll even pay you to help me out and move. But, they're not calling, so forget about those expectations that you have because, people change. They, and then you might leave, okay, say they call you back and you're like, yeah, hello, and then you got to be sneaky about, you don't want to just, hey, can you help me out moving? So it's like, so, hey, how you doing? And, like, how's the family? How's work going? And you just kind of have a smooth way of like, yeah, how am I doing? Well, yeah, I'm glad you asked because I was calling up to find out if you can help me move this weekend. You can hear it through the phone. It's like, what was that noise? They're not even saying anything, you just like, they're, the energy. You could feel the energy. They're like senseless right now. They don't even know what to say because they're supposed to be your friend, right? But they don't want to help you out. Yeah, I would even pay you. They're like, oh man, I don't really want to help you out. They're not your really friend, So really, it is funny. Starlight has all these little tricks, like testing people out, what we do and how we do it, and so really drop the expectations on anyone that you have in your life because we're all unpredictable in so many different ways. You might, hey, I thought we've been together, I'm always there helping you out. Like it could have been your only one time, hey, I've been always helping you out. Every time you got something, I'm always like there. And now it's my turn. Hey, you know what? In my mind, I'm thinking, man, I've helped him out. What year was that? Yeah, freaking in 2000, I helped him move. And, I went to their wedding. I went and got him a beautiful gift. I went to the baby shower. I did all these things, they should, they should help me out here. And then, what are they going to say? What is their response to you after you hear this silence? Oh, yeah, and then they just make up something out of the, let me see, what are they gonna, oh, I gotta go do laundry over the weekend. I don't know, they're just gonna make up something, and it's like, I stopped doing all these different things that, I had stuff going on. When they invited me, I said, you know what? It's my friend. You know what? I'm going to cancel out on that because I can I can move that to another date. And, I'm going to do this because that person's my friend or that person's my family. It doesn't matter, friend or family. So don't have high expectations because you know what? If they help out, they help out. If they don't, they don't. So, like, let all that go. I am telling you, believe me, your mind will be blown when you start working on yourself and you start changing and, you start becoming your greatest version or be the change that you want to see in the world. You're going to see people that you thought were there and loving and supporting you, and they're going to be gone. Like the road runner, beep, beep, gone. You're not even going to, And, so that is why it's so important to not think that people are going to be there for you when you really need them the most. So anyway, I hope you get a lot of help, from this video because Starlight had a lot of fun time with phones, you know, and doing funny things to people. Like, okay, let's see how they're gonna. And I'm like, yeah, I knew it. I knew I couldn't count on them. See how my intuition was right. I knew I couldn't count on them because they never did anything to help me out. So I knew I was just like, you know, just throwing it out there and seeing how they were going to respond. So anyway, I love you and don't have any expectations of Starlight. That was a freebie. So anyway, I love you so much. This is Starlight. You could give this video a thumbs up and you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, don't forget the notification bell, and you can check out my playlist. Oh, wait a minute, Starlight, you're supposed to do this, share your video. Oh, yeah. Share my videos. You can share my videos with your family, your friends, and let's see, a blue jay plus a rabbit, silly old rabbit. See, Starlight was messing with all of you guys' expectations. See, I was trying to test you all out. You know, also, besides my playlist, is you can check out my Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K, Dingman Starlight. I love you so much, and you know, there's times that, you know, people are doing a certain way, and we might think, oh, you gotta still keep on doing it that way. No, everything's gonna, you know, so really it's gonna save you a lot of frustration, a lot of heartache. Don't expect a whole lot. You know, if somebody's there to help you out, wow, amazing, they actually were there for me. You know, those are the ones that you want to be there for, is the ones that, you know, are willing to let go of stuff to be there for you, you know, family or, you know, support, you know. So anyway, I love you so much. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight, love, light, and peace.